I'm floating. Or maybe sinking. It's hard to tell. There's a beeping sound, rhythmic and insistent, that drills into the fog in my head. Muffled voices swim in and out of focus. I try to open my eyes, but my eyelids feel like they're weighted down with lead. A sharp, sterile smell, antiseptic, that's it, burns my nostrils. It's a smell I associate with pain, with hospitals. Where am I? Then, another scent cuts through the chemical harshness, something floral and familiar. Sarah's perfume. Lily of the Valley. She always dabbed it right behind her ears. The thought of her, a small comfort, tries to anchor me. He's still unconscious, a woman's voice says. Not Sarah. A nurse? The doctor said it could be a while. We know, a deeper voice replies. Jake, my best friend. Why is he here? Concern, probably. He's a good mate, Jake. Always there for me, or so I thought. A softer voice now, feminine, laced with a tremor I've heard 1,000,000 times, Sarah. It's just so awful, Jake, seeing him like this. Her voice breaks. Good. She's worried. She should be. I was reckless. We had a fight. A stupid, explosive one. And I'd stormed out, jumped on my bike. The details after that are blank. Just a blinding light. Then this. I try to move a finger, anything to signal I'm here, I'm awake. Nothing. My body feels like a concrete slab. Panic, cold and sharp, begins to prickle at the edges of my awareness. Am I paralyzed? The doctor said, they're worried about swelling on the brain, Sarah continues, her voice hushed, conspiratorial. He might not. He might not be the same. Shh, don't say that, Sarah, Jake murmurs. His voice is closer now. Too close. He's strong. He'll pull through. There's a rustling sound, a soft sigh. Then, a sound that makes the fog in my brain instantly recede, replaced by a chilling, horrifying clarity. A soft, wet sound. A kiss. Not the kind you give a grieving friend. This is lingering, intimate. My heart, which I can vaguely feel thumping too fast against my ribs, seems to stop. No, it can't be. Not Sarah. Not with Jake. My eyes remain closed, but behind them my mind is racing. 1,000 images flashing, 1,000 tiny suspicions, previously dismissed, now roaring to life. This isn't the first time a cold dread has washed over me when I've seen them together, laughing a little too long, their bodies angled a little too close. Again. The word echoes in my skull. This sick feeling, the tightening in my chest. It's happened again. I force myself to stay still, to breathe evenly, though every instinct screams at me to rip open my eyes, to confront them. But a new, colder instinct takes over, a need to know. I need to understand the depth of this, the shape of this betrayal. So I lie there, a statue of flesh and blood, pretending to be lost in the darkness they presume envelops me. The antiseptic smell, once just a sterile annoyance, now mixes with the cloying sweetness of Sarah's perfume, and it makes me want to gag. My stomach churns. I can almost taste betrayal, metallic and bitter like the blood that must have been in my mouth after the crash. We should probably step outside for a bit, Jake says, his voice a little strained. Give him some peace. You're right. Sarah's voice is thick with unshed tears. Or are they fake? My mind, suddenly sharp, begins to dissect every nuance, every hesitation. I feel myself tremble, a slight tremor that I hope they don't notice. I'm panicking, but not about my injuries. Not anymore. I'm panicking about what I'm hearing, what it means. I just can't believe this happened, Sarah says, and there's a little hiccup in her voice. Right now, of all times. What do you mean? Jake asks. A pause. I can hear the soft squeak of shoes on the linoleum floor as one of them shifts their weight. Well, Sarah says, her voice dropping even lower, almost a whisper. When were we going to tell him? Tell me what? The question screams in my mind. My body feels like it's on fire, yet I'm frozen. The implications of her words, of that kiss, crash down on me. They're together. It's not a fleeting moment of comfort in a crisis. It's something established, something they were planning to reveal. My fiancée, my best friend. I hear the door to the room swish open and then click shut. They're gone. For now. My mind is a chaotic whirl. The fight. Her secretive texts lately, the phone calls she'd take in the other room, her sudden need for girls' nights that seemed to happen more and more frequently. Jake's dropping by, even when I wasn't home, claiming he was in the neighborhood. Each memory, once innocent or mildly annoying, now twists into a piece of a sickening puzzle. The antiseptic smell of the ICU is no longer just a hospital smell. It's the scent of my world falling apart. I concentrate on the beeping. It's my heart rate. Steady. Too steady for a man who's just had his life obliterated. A cold rage begins to settle in my chest, pushing aside the initial shock. I need to think. I need a plan. They think I'm out of it. They think I might not even remember, that I might not survive. The thought is a fresh stab of pain. The bastards. A nurse comes in, checks my vitals, makes a note on a chart. Her touch is gentle, impersonal. She doesn't know she's tending to a man whose biggest injury isn't physical. When she leaves, I try again to move. This time, a flicker. My finger twitches. Hope, small but fierce, ignites within me. I'm not completely helpless. And then, a chilling realization solidifies, colder than any fear for my physical state. They're discussing when to tell him, because they think my survival is uncertain. They're waiting to see if I'll even make it, if I'll be a problem they no longer have to deal with. The sheer, calculated cruelty of it makes me recoil internally. I lie still, pretending to be the broken man they assume I am. But beneath the surface, something is hardening, crystallizing into a resolve I didn't know I possessed. They've made a mistake. They've underestimated me, and they're about to find out just how big a mistake that was. The game, I realize with a grim sort of satisfaction, has just begun, and I'm going to play it my way. The room is quiet, save for the beeping, waiting. Just like me. The minutes stretch into what feels like hours. Each tick of the clock, each distant hospital sound, amplifies the silence in my room. A silence now pregnant with my awakened consciousness and their devastating secret. My mind keeps replaying that kiss, the murmur of their voices, Sarah's perfume lily of the valley. How ironic, a flower often associated with purity, with returning happiness. My happiness, I now understand, has been a carefully constructed lie, and they were the architects. I think back to the weeks leading up to the accident. Sarah had been distant, jumpy. She'd started working late more often, claiming new projects at work, deadlines that kept her glued to her desk. When I'd call, she'd sound breathless, distracted. "Just swamped, babe," she'd say, her voice a little too bright. And the texts, always angled away from me, a quick smile, then a tap, tap, tap of her fingers. The screen quickly darkened if I glanced over. I'd chalked it up to stress, to the pressure of her job. What a fool I'd been. And Jake, he'd been around more too, always with a casual excuse. "Just in the neighborhood, thought I'd see if you were free for a beer." Or, "Sarah mentioned you were out, figured I'd keep her company until you got back." His presence, once a comforting norm, now feels like an invasion, a strategic positioning. How many times had he been in our apartment with my fiancée, while I was oblivious, working, trusting. The metallic taste of blood, or maybe just pure, unadulterated betrayal, floods my mouth again. My world isn't just falling apart. It's shattering, crumbling into dust around me. The memory of the fight, the one that sent me speeding off on my bike like an idiot, comes back in sharp, painful fragments. It had been about something trivial, or so I thought at the time. A weekend trip I wanted to plan, one she kept finding excuses to delay. I'm just not sure, Marcus, with work and everything. Her reluctance had frustrated me. It's always something, Sarah. Do you even want to spend time with me anymore? I'd yelled. Her reaction had been explosive. Tears, accusations that I was being needy, that I didn't understand the pressure she was under. And then, the clincher. I'd mentioned Jake. Something about how he always seemed to have time for things, how he managed to balance his life. Her face had gone pale. What's Jake got to do with anything? She'd snapped, her voice venomous. Why are you always bringing him up? Looking back, the panic in her eyes was unmistakable. She wasn't angry, she was scared. Scared I was onto them. The realization ignites a fresh wave of fury, so potent it almost makes me gasp. I lie there, feigning the deep unconsciousness they expect, but my mind is a whirlwind of activity. I start to catalog everything, every little inconsistency, every lie. The new workout schedule Sarah had suddenly adopted, her toned physique that I'd complimented, attributing it to a newfound dedication to fitness. Had Jake been her workout partner? The thought sends a jolt of revulsion through me. Their shared glances at parties, the inside jokes I was never privy to, the way they'd finish each other's sentences. It was all there, laid out in plain sight, and I'd been too blind, too trusting to see it. My anger is a living thing now, coiling in my gut. It's a cold, hard knot, different from the hot, impulsive anger that led to my accident. This is calculated. This is patient. I need to remain the unconscious patient, the potential casualty. It's the only way to learn more, to understand the full extent of their treachery. A nurse enters, her movements brisk and efficient. Just checking your vitals, dear, she says softly, her voice a soothing balm on my raw nerves. She adjusts something on the IV drip, her gaze briefly resting on my face. Your fiancée has been so worried. Such a devoted young woman. She's been practically living here, you know. And that young man with her, her brother, is it? Such a support to her. Her brother? The words hang in the air. So that's the story they're spinning to the staff. Sarah doesn't have a brother. Jake, my best friend, my brother in all but blood, is now posing as her actual sibling to facilitate their bedside vigil, their secret rendezvous. The audacity of it, the sheer, calculated deception almost makes me laugh. A bitter, silent laugh that shakes my inert body. The nurse finishes her checks and leaves, oblivious to the storm raging beneath my still eyelids. Practically living here with that man. The phrase sticks, a cruel confirmation. They weren't just stealing moments. They were building a life here in the sterile confines of my potential deathbed. The casual cruelty of it all is what strikes me the hardest. The anniversary dinner a few weeks ago. Sarah's phone had buzzed incessantly. She'd claimed it was work, an urgent project. I remember the flicker of annoyance on her face when she'd silenced it. Had it been Jake? Were they coordinating their stories even then, planning their future while I was planning ours? The ring I'd been looking at, the proposal I'd been rehearsing in my head, the thought now feels like a cruel joke I'd played on myself. The section cliffhanger is almost too perfect, delivered with such innocent ignorance by the nurse. They're not just having an affair. They're cohabiting in my tragedy, presenting themselves as a unit bound by grief and familial loyalty. The depth of their betrayal is far greater than a simple kiss in a waiting room. It's a carefully constructed narrative, a play in which I am the unwitting, inconvenient prop. And I, the silent audience, am just beginning to understand the plot. My role, I decide, is about to change. I'm no longer just a spectator. I'm the director, and this drama will end on my terms. Time in the ICU is a strange, elastic thing. Moments stretch into eternities, punctuated by the rhythmic beeps of machines and the hushed tones of medical staff. I drift in and out of actual sleep, a genuine fatigue pulling at me. But even then, a part of my mind remains on high alert, a sentinel guarding against further surprises, though what could be more surprising than what I've already discovered? I feign a deeper level of unconsciousness than I truly feel. It's a draining performance, requiring a stillness that wars with the turmoil inside me. But it's necessary. They come and go, Sarah and Jake, sometimes together, sometimes separately. Their conversations, when they think I'm oblivious, are a goldmine of sickening revelations. "He's still the same," I hear Sarah whisper one afternoon. The sound of her nervous laugh, a sound I once found endearing, now grates on my ears like nails on a chalkboard. It's a tell, I realize. She only laughs like that when she's anxious, when she's trying to cover something up. The doctors don't seem very optimistic about a full recovery. They keep talking about cognitive deficits. There's a false note of sorrow in her voice, a theatrical wobble that makes my skin crawl. "We just have to be patient, Sar," Jake says. His tone is softer, more subdued. Is that guilt I detect, or is he just better at acting concerned? It's only been a few days. I know, a sigh. It's just, this is so hard. On us. On us? The casual possessiveness, the shared burden. They speak as a unit, their lives already intertwined, my presence merely an obstacle, a complication to their story. I seethe silently, the anger a slow burn in my chest. I memorize their words, their tones, the subtle shifts in their demeanor. This is evidence, this is ammunition. One evening, I hear them discussing finances. "His insurance should cover most of the hospital bills," Jake says, his voice low and practical. "But afterwards, if he needs long-term care?" "I can't think about that now, Jake," Sarah replies, but there's a distinct lack of conviction in her voice. It's followed by a question that sends a chill down my spine. Did he ever get around to updating his will, after his father passed?" "I did, and she knows it. I'd made her the primary beneficiary." The realization hits me with the force of a physical blow. Are they hoping I don't recover? Is this more than just an affair? Is this a calculated move for my assets, my life insurance? The coldness of the thought is terrifying. But Sarah's cool, almost detached tone when discussing my will lends a horrifying plausibility to it. She's not just my cheating fiancée. She's a vulture circling, waiting. Jake's response is a non-committal grunt. He seems less comfortable with this line of discussion. Perhaps he has a sliver of conscience left. Or perhaps he's just letting Sarah do the dirty work, the dirty thinking. Sarah's performance for the hospital staff is Oscar-worthy. The tearful eyes, the clasped hands, the whispered anxieties about my condition. "He's my everything," she'd sob to a sympathetic nurse. "I don't know what I'll do if—" The sentence always trailed off, heavy with implied despair. It's a stark contrast to the pragmatic, almost cold-hearted woman I hear when she's alone with Jake, discussing the logistics of my potential incapacity, my finances. The duality of her personality is jarring, sickening. I am witnessing the unmasking of a stranger, someone I've shared my life with, my bed with, my deepest secrets with. It hardens something within me. chips away at any lingering sentimentality. One afternoon, a doctor comes in while Sarah and Jake are there. He's an older man, his face kind but serious. "Mr. Davies," he says, even though he knows I'm supposedly unresponsive. "We're seeing some positive signs. The swelling is reducing slightly faster than we initially anticipated. There's still a long road ahead, but there's reason for cautious optimism." I can't see their faces, but I can feel the shift in the room's atmosphere, a subtle tensing. Sarah's breath catches. "Really, doctor?" she asks, her voice a little too high-pitched. That's wonderful news." "Is it, Sarah? Is it really? Or does my faster-than-expected recovery throw a wrench in your plans?" After the doctor leaves, the silence between them is thick with unspoken thoughts. Then, Jake speaks, his voice barely audible. "Well, that's good, right?" "Of course it's good," Sarah snaps, a little too defensively. "It's what we've been hoping for." Liar. The word screams in my mind. Later, I overhear them making plans, vague at first, then more specific. "Once this is over," Sarah begins, her voice regaining its composure, its calculating edge. "We need to be smart about this, Jake. We can't just rush into things." "What are you saying?" "I'm saying," she replies, and I can almost hear the cold smile in her voice, "that when he's settled, wherever he ends up, we can finally start thinking about our future. Maybe that little place by the lake? It'll be easier then. No complications." No complications. Am I the complication she's referring to? The one that needs to be settled? The audacity of them, planning their idyllic life together, contingent on my disposal. They're not just waiting for me to die. They're making contingency plans for my survival, plans that clearly don't involve me being a part of their picture. They're already envisioning a life built on the ashes of mine. The cold fury that has been simmering inside me now has a definite target, a clear focus. They think I'm a pawn in their game, a piece to be moved off the board. They have no idea. The game is mine now, and I'm changing all the rules. The doctor's words, recovering faster than expected, echo in my mind. It's not just good news for my health, it's a weapon, and I intend to wield it. My body is slowly, stubbornly, coming back online. Each day I feel a little more strength, a subtle easing of the fog in my head. I practice small movements when I'm alone, wiggling my fingers, clenching my toes, trying to lift an arm an inch off the bed. Each tiny victory is a secret triumph, a step closer to reclaiming control. The texture of the hospital gown, once a symbol of my helplessness, now feels like a temporary disguise, a costume I'll soon shed. My mind, however, is already leagues ahead of my physical recovery. It's a whirlwind of strategic planning, of piecing together a counteroffensive. Sarah and Jake continue their charade, their concern a well-rehearsed play for the benefit of the hospital staff, and, they believe, for my unresponsive ears. Sarah brings Jake coffee every morning, their hands brushing a little too long, a shared smile that speaks volumes. She'll sit by my bedside, hold my limp hand, and whisper platitudes. "You have to fight, Marcus. For us." The irony is so thick, I could choke on it. If only she knew what I was fighting for. My cousin, Liam, is a lawyer, sharp, tenacious, and fiercely loyal. The hospital phone is on a small table beside my bed. It's an old-fashioned model, with actual buttons. During a brief window when I'm alone, after a nurse has finished her rounds and before Sarah's scheduled arrival, I manage, with excruciating effort, to lift my hand, my arm shaking, and punch in his number. My fingers are clumsy, but the muscle memory is there. It rings 3 times. "Liam Davies," his crisp voice answers. "Liam," I whisper, my voice raspy, weak, but undeniably mine. "It's Marcus." Silence then. Marcus? My God, man, how are you? They said you were... No time, I manage, my breath hitching. Listen carefully. I need your help, but no one can know I called you. No one. I quickly, concisely outline the situation. The accident, the betrayal, Sarah and Jake. I don't embellish, I don't need to. The bare facts are damning enough. Liam listens, his silence punctuated only by sharp intakes of breath. When I finish, there's a moment of stunned silence. Then, his voice, cold as steel. Those absolute... Okay, Marcus. Okay, I understand. Tell me what you need. My rights, I say. Discharge. Can I discharge myself against medical advice if I'm deemed competent? And emergency contacts. Can I change mine without Sarah knowing? Yes, to both, Liam says immediately. If you're lucid and can demonstrate you understand the risks, you can request a discharge. And you have every right to change your emergency contact. Who do you want it to be? My sister, Chloe. Consider it done. I'll make some inquiries, discreetly. Handle it from my end. You focus on getting stronger, Marcus, and on staying quiet. Let them think you're still out of it. I will, I promise, relief washing over me, so potent it's almost dizzying. Liam, thanks. Don't thank me yet. We'll get these bastards. You just focus on your part. We hang up. The effort has exhausted me, but a grim satisfaction settles in. The first piece of my plan is in motion. I am no longer just a passive observer. I am an active participant in my own rescue, my own revenge. I start documenting everything I can. The snippets of conversation I overhear, the times Sarah and Jake are together in my room, their hushed arguments, their affectionate murmurs. I burn it all into my memory, creating a mental logbook of their deceit. Each entry fuels my resolve. One afternoon, the doctor comes in for his rounds, Sarah and Jake flanking my bedside like a twisted honor guard. Marcus is showing remarkable progress, Dr. Allister says, a genuine smile on his face. We ran some cognitive tests this morning while he was briefly awake. He glances at them. He was lucid, responsive. It's excellent news. We can probably start discussing a discharge plan tomorrow. Sarah's hand flies to her mouth. Tomorrow? She echoes, her voice a mixture of feigned surprise and, I suspect, genuine alarm. That's so soon. Jake just nods, his expression unreadable. But I can feel the tension radiating off both of them. My remarkable progress is a spanner in their works. An inconvenient truth they now have to confront. Their timeline, whatever it was, has just been drastically accelerated. Later that evening, after visiting hours are officially over, but when they often linger, I hear them arguing in hushed, urgent tones. They think I've lapsed back into unconsciousness after the doctor's examination. What are we going to do? Sarah whispers, her voice tight with panic. If he's getting discharged tomorrow, we need to tell him. Tell him what, Sarah? Jake hisses back. That we've been carrying on while he's been lying here, possibly dying? That we were discussing his will? How do you think he's going to react? I don't know, she cries, a genuine sob in her voice now. Not for me, I realize, but for herself, for the implosion of her carefully laid plans. But we have to say something. We can't just let him come home to this. Maybe we don't tell him everything at once, Jake suggests, ever the pragmatist. We ease him into it. Say we grew closer during the crisis, that it was unexpected. And the kiss in the waiting room? What if someone saw? Sarah frets. My eyes are closed, but I'm smiling internally. They're unraveling. My recovery, my lucidity, is their undoing. The delicious irony is not lost on me. They're now scrambling, trying to concoct a palatable version of their betrayal. Little do they know I've already heard the unvarnished truth. The discharge discussion is set for the morning. My escape is imminent. And they're about to be blindsided. The power dynamic has shifted, and they haven't even realized it yet. Sarah and Jake are now caught in a trap of their own making, and I, the supposed victim, am about to spring it. The crisp morning air I imagine as I walk out of here, free, is a tantalizing thought, a promise of the liberation to come. The next morning, I feel a nervous energy thrumming through me, a stark contrast to the feigned lethargy I project. Dr. Alistair arrives, his expression professional but kind. Sarah is there, of course, hovering, her face a mask of solicitous concern. Jake, notably, is absent. Smart boy. Probably couldn't stomach the charade any longer. Or perhaps Sarah decided he'd be a liability during this crucial conversation. "Marcus," Dr. Alistair says, pulling up a chair. "As I mentioned, you've been making excellent progress. I've reviewed your latest tests, and I see no medical reason why we can't proceed with your discharge today, provided you have adequate support at home." He glances at Sarah. "Mrs. Davies, your fiancée, I presume, has assured us she's prepared to care for you." I let my eyelids flutter open slowly, as if surfacing from a great depth. I focus on the doctor, then turn my gaze to Sarah, trying to inject a look of dazed confusion. "Sarah?" I murmur, my voice deliberately weak. What happened?" Her face crumples with what looks like relief and sorrow. "Oh, Marcus, you're awake, really awake." She rushes to my side, taking my hand. Her touch feels like ice. "There was an accident, your motorcycle. You've been here for over a week." "A week?" I feign disorientation. It's all a blank. I look at Dr. Alistair. "Am I okay?" "You're very lucky, Marcus," he says gently. "You sustained some serious injuries, a concussion, multiple fractures, but you're healing remarkably well. You'll need physical therapy and to take it easy for a while, but the prognosis is good." "Home?" I say, testing the waters. "I can go home?" "Yes," Sarah chimes in, squeezing my hand a little too tightly. "I'll take care of you, Marcus. I'll be right there." Her eyes are shining with unshed tears. Such a convincing performance. The discharge process is a blur of paperwork and instructions. I nod, ask a few hazy questions, playing the part of the grateful, confused patient. Sarah fusses over me, helping me sign forms where needed. Her perfume, that damned lily of the valley, assaulting my senses. I'm acutely aware of the time. Liam had told me the official discharge order would be signed by 10 a.m. He'd also confirmed that my emergency contact had been successfully and discreetly changed to my sister Chloe. Sarah has no idea. As a nurse helps me into a wheelchair, a precaution, they say, though I feel I could probably walk, albeit slowly. Sarah announces, "I'm just going to grab the car and pull it around to the front entrance, and I desperately need a coffee. I'll be right back, darling." She kisses my forehead. A Judas kiss if ever there was one. "This is my window." The moment she's out the door, I turn to the nurse. "Actually," I say, my voice suddenly stronger, clearer. "My sister is picking me up. She should be waiting at the staff exit, the one near the physiotherapy wing. Could you possibly take me there? My fiancée. She's a bit overwhelmed, I think. It's been a lot for her." The nurse, a kind-faced woman named Mary, looks surprised but nods. "Of course, dear, if that's what you'd prefer." As she wheels me down a quieter corridor, away from the main bustle of the ICU, I feel a surge of adrenaline. The crisp morning air I'd fantasized about is no longer a distant dream. It's just a few corridors away. I palm the small, cold object in my pocket. The spare key to our apartment. I'd tucked it into the lining of my motorcycle jacket months ago, a just-in-case measure. It feels like a talisman now, a key to my old life, and the evidence within it. We reach the staff exit, and there, just as planned, is Chloe, her face etched with worry, but breaking into a relieved smile when she sees me. She rushes forward, hugs me carefully. "Marcus, oh, thank God." "Hey, sis," I manage, a real smile finally gracing my lips. "Let's get out of here." Mary, the nurse, looks a little confused by this sudden, efficient handover, but Chloe, ever composed, thanks her profusely. "I'll take it from here. His fiancée called me, asked if I could step in. She's feeling a bit unwell." A white lie, but a necessary one. As Chloe wheels me out into the bright sunlight, the cool air on my face feels like a baptism. I take a deep breath, a breath of freedom. I glance at my watch. Sarah's coffee run should be just about over. Back in the ICU, Sarah, latte in hand, walks towards my room. She's probably picturing the next few weeks, playing the devoted nurse while subtly maneuvering her life with Jake. She reaches my bed. It's empty, stripped. Confused, she looks around. No Marcus? No wheelchair? She flags down a passing nurse. "My fiancé, Mr. Davies? He was just here." The nurse checks the chart. "Oh, Mr. Davies was discharged a few minutes ago. His sister picked him up." Sarah's face, I imagine, drains of all color. "His sister?" The latte probably trembles in her hand. She fumbles for her phone, her fingers flying across the screen, dialing my number. It goes straight to voicemail. I'd turned it off the moment I was in Chloe's car. Meanwhile, I'm standing in the living room of our shared apartment. My apartment, I mentally correct. Chloe helped me up the stairs, her arm steady around my waist. The place is quiet, still. It smells faintly of Sarah's perfume, but also of something else. A faint, lingering scent of Jake's cologne. He's been here, recently. "Are you sure you're okay, Marcus?" Chloe asks, her eyes full of concern. "You look determined." "I am, Chloe," I say, looking around the space that was once my sanctuary, now a crime scene. "I'm more than okay, I'm just getting started." I walk towards the bedroom. Every step a small victory. It's time to gather the evidence. Sarah's frantic calls are undoubtedly piling up. Let them. She's about to have much bigger things to worry about than my whereabouts. I'm a ghost in my own home, and the haunting has just begun. The apartment feels alien, tainted. Every familiar object now seems to mock me with its complicity in their deceit. Chloe, bless her, understands my need for solitude, for what I have to do next. She makes sure I'm settled, that I have food and water within easy reach, and then with a worried glance she leaves, promising to be back later or a call away. The silence, once she's gone, is heavy. I move through the rooms, a grim detective in my own life. My first stop is the bedroom. Our bedroom. The air is thick with the lingering scent of Sarah's perfume, but underneath it, unmistakably, is the musky, woody aroma of Jake's signature cologne. It's on the pillows, a faint trace on the duvet. He hasn't just visited. He's slept in my bed, with my fiancée. The rage, cold and sharp, threatens to overwhelm me, but I push it down. I need to be methodical, clinical. I start with the obvious. His belongings. It doesn't take long. Tucked away at the back of Sarah's side of the wardrobe, I find a small gym bag. Inside, a change of clothes, Jake's size, a toothbrush still damp, and a spare phone charger. He was comfortable here. Too comfortable. In the bedside table on her side, beneath a pile of books I know she hasn't read, I find a small, velvet-wrapped box. Not from me. My heart lurches. I open it. It's a pair of expensive-looking earrings, ones I've never seen before. A gift from him, or perhaps something she bought for herself. A trinket from their shared, stolen moments. Next, the receipts. Sarah has a habit of stuffing receipts into her handbag, into drawers. I find a cluster in her desk drawer. Restaurant bills for 2, from places I know we haven't been to together recently. Cinema tickets, again for 2, on nights she claimed to be working late. One receipt, in particular, catches my eye. A florist's bill for a bouquet of lilies. Not lily of the valley, her supposed favorite, but expensive stargazer lilies. Delivered to our apartment. Addressed to Sarah. The sender? Jay. The timeline matches a period when I was away on a business trip. He was sending her flowers. To my home. The real treasure trove, I suspect, will be digital. Sarah's laptop sits on the small desk in the spare room, which she'd claimed as her home office. It's password protected, but I know her password. It's a silly combination of her childhood pet's name and her birth year. Predictable. The laptop whirs to life, and I navigate to her email. My hands are shaking slightly, not from weakness, but from a potent cocktail of dread and anticipation. The emails are there, a dedicated folder, innocuously labeled Projects. Inside, a chain of messages between her and Jake, going back months, longer than I'd even dared to imagine. Their early messages are cautious, flirtatious. Then they become more explicit, planning secret meetings, sharing intimate details. They talk about me, about my obliviousness, about how Marcus would never suspect. Each word is a fresh stab. I screenshot everything, meticulously saving the files to a USB drive I brought with me. I create backups, then backups of the backups. There are photos, too, tucked away in a hidden folder, pictures of them together, laughing, looking very much like a couple. A weekend trip to a coastal town I recognize, a place she'd told me she was visiting with a girlfriend. They're arm in arm, smiling into the camera, the ocean breeze ruffling their hair. They look happy, blissfully, cruelly happy. The deepest cut, however, comes from an unexpected source. A browser history search reveals multiple visits to a high-end jewelry store's website, specifically the engagement ring section. My blood runs cold. She's not just having an affair with Jake. She's planning to marry him, while still engaged to me, while I was lying in a hospital bed, potentially dying. The sheer audacity, the cold-blooded calculation of it is staggering. She wasn't just moving on, she was upgrading, replacing me before I was even gone. I find a screenshot saved on her desktop, a picture of a diamond ring, a classic solitaire, with a price tag that makes my eyes water. And a note beside it. Jay, what do you think of this one? My phone, still switched off, lies on the coffee table. I can only imagine the barrage of frantic voicemails and texts from Sarah. Let her panic. Let her wonder. Her carefully constructed world is about to implode, and I'm holding the detonator. As I'm saving the last of the files, I hear it. A key in the front door. My heart leaps into my throat. Chloe wasn't due back for hours. It must be Sarah. She's home earlier than expected. Adrenaline floods my system. I can't let her find me here. Not yet. Not like this. My plan requires precision, a more controlled confrontation. Quickly, I gather the USB drive, shove the gym bag back where I found it, trying to make everything look untouched. But where can I go? My healing body isn't exactly primed for a quick escape. The spare room has a deep closet. It's my only option. I slip inside, pulling the door almost shut, leaving just a crack to see and hear. My heart is hammering against my ribs, the sound deafening in the sudden darkness. The apartment door opens, and I hear Sarah's voice, sharp with anxiety. Marcus? Marcus, are you here? Silence, then another voice, Jake's. See, I told you he wouldn't be here. He's probably gone to his sister's. They're both here, together. Arguing. This is an unexpected gift. The evidence collection phase just got a live audio-visual component. I press record on my phone, which I'd instinctively pulled out. The muffled sound of my own heartbeat in the dark closet is the only thing louder than the venom in their voices as they walk further into the apartment. Their words about to reveal far more than any email or photograph ever could. Huddled in the cramped darkness of the closet, the cheap wood pressing against my back, I listen. My phone is clutched in my hand, its microphone pointed towards the sliver of light from the slightly ajar door. The recording app is running, capturing every damning word. The muffled sound of my own heartbeat is a frantic drum against the backdrop of their escalating argument. I just don't understand where he could have gone. Sarah's voice is shrill, laced with a panic that sounds performative even to my ears. Is she worried about me or about her plans derailing? The hospital said his sister picked him up. Why wouldn't Chloe call me? Why wouldn't he call me? Maybe he's not as out of it as you thought, Sarah. Jake's voice rumbles, heavy with a weariness I haven't heard from him before. Maybe he remembers something. A sharp scoff from Sarah. Remembers what? The accident? The doctor said he had a severe concussion. He's lucky if he remembers his own name, let alone anything else. Anything else? Like her kissing him in the ICU waiting room, like their hushed whispers about my will. Then, her voice drops, hardening into something chillingly pragmatic. Honestly, Jake, this whole thing, it would have been so much simpler if he just hadn't woken up. The words hang in the air, heavy and poisonous. My breath catches in my throat. Simpler if I hadn't woken up. She didn't just passively wish for my demise. She's actively lamenting my survival. The raw, unadulterated malice in that statement is a physical blow. This isn't just about infidelity anymore. This is something darker, something monstrous. My own fiancée, the woman I'd planned to spend my life with, saw my potential death as a convenient solution to her romantic entanglements. The very air in the closet seems to thicken, to suffocate me with the weight of her cruelty. My blood runs cold. Jake's reply is hesitant. Don't say that, Sarah. That's messed up. Oh, don't act so sanctimonious, Jake, she snaps. You were thinking it too. This entire week has been a nightmare. The hospital, the questions, pretending to be heartbroken. I was heartbroken, Jake insists, his voice rising. He's my best friend, or he was. This whole situation, it's eating me alive. I can't sleep, I can't eat. The guilt it's too much. Guilt? Sarah laughs, a harsh, ugly sound. Guilt is a luxury we can't afford right now. We need to be smart. Think about the insurance money, Jake. His policies are substantial, and the apartment, it's in his name. If he's incapacitated, or dead, Jake finishes, his voice flat. You're talking about profiting from his death, Sarah. I'm talking about securing our future, she retorts, her voice regaining its sharp, calculating edge. A future you seemed pretty keen on just a few days ago when you were picking out engagement rings online with me. So the ring. It was for her, from him, or at least a joint venture in self-interest. My stomach churns. The sheer, unadulterated greed, the cold-hearted opportunism, it's breathtaking. I listen as Sarah outlines how she's already started moving small sums of money from our joint savings account into her personal one. Just bits and pieces, she says casually. He'll never notice, especially not in his current state. And if he doesn't improve, then it's just easier to manage. Easier to steal, she means. Jake is quiet for a long moment. Then, I can't do this, Sarah. This isn't what I signed up for. If Marcus is really recovering, if he's going to be okay, I think we need to tell him the truth, everything. Are you insane? Sarah screeches. Tell him we were hoping he'd die so we could collect his insurance and move into his apartment? Tell him I've been siphoning money from our savings? He'd destroy us. He'd go to the police. It's better than living like this, Jake says, a note of desperation in his voice. If you don't tell him, Sarah, I swear I will. I can't carry this anymore. A tense silence. I can hear Sarah pacing, her footsteps quick and agitated. Okay, she says finally, her voice suddenly calm. Too calm. You're right. We need a plan. We can't just blurt it all out. We need to stage it. A gradual breakup. We tell him that the stress of the accident, the fear of losing him, it made us realize things, that we weren't right for each other, that it was a mutual decision. And us? Jake asks. What about us? We lay low for a while, Sarah strategizes. Let the dust settle. Then, after a few months, we can reconnect. People will understand. Grief does strange things, brings people together. My mind reels. She's not just a cheat and a thief, she's a sociopath. The way she calmly plots, manipulates, twists every situation to her advantage. It's terrifying. She's been planning this, not just the affair, but the aftermath, for months. The accident wasn't a tragedy for her. It was an opportunity, a catalyst. The conversation peters out. They make plans to go out, to clear their heads. I hear the front door close. The silence they leave behind is deafening, filled only with the echo of their monstrous words and the frantic thumping of my own heart. I stay hidden in the closet for a long time. The recording on my phone a precious, terrible artifact. The full truth, in all its ugliness, is now mine. And with it, the power to dismantle their lives as completely as they tried to dismantle mine. Sarah hasn't just been planning a new relationship. She's been orchestrating a complete takeover, with my potential death as the cornerstone of her new life. The game has reached a new level of stakes, and my resolve to win, to survive and expose them, crystallizes into something unbreakable. The apartment door clicks shut, plunging the living room back into silence. I wait a few more minutes, heart still pounding, before slowly easing out of the closet. My legs are stiff, my body aching from the cramped position and the fresh wave of emotional trauma. But my mind is icily clear. The recording on my phone is everything. It's the noose they've handed me. I can't stay here, not another minute. The air itself feels contaminated by their presence, their whispered conspiracies. My first move is to get out, to find a neutral space where I can think, plan my next steps without the ghosts of their betrayal hovering over me. I grab my wallet, the USB drive with the damning emails and photos, and my phone. I leave everything else. The clothes in the wardrobe, the books on the shelves, the life I thought I had. It's all tainted, meaningless. I take one last look around the apartment, not with sadness, but with a cold, hard detachment. This isn't my home anymore. It's a museum of lies. Downstairs, I hail a cab. Any clean anonymous hotel, please, I tell the driver. He glances at me in the rearview mirror, probably noting my hospital-issued sweatpants and the faint bruising still visible on my temple, but he just nods. I pay in cash, using a name I invent on the spot, Michael Turner. The hotel room is sterile, impersonal, perfect. The first thing I do is shower, scrubbing away the lingering scent of Sarah's perfume, the phantom touch of her hand, the grime of the hospital, and the deceit. The hot water sluices away some of the tension, but the cold knot of anger and resolve remains deep inside. The soap in the hotel bathroom, a generic, clean scent, is a welcome replacement for the tainted aroma of what I once called home. Then, I begin the process of erasure. Systematically, methodically, I start cutting ties. I call my bank, report my debit and credit cards lost, a precaution against any further financial maneuvering from Sarah. I instruct them to freeze the joint savings account immediately, citing suspicious activity. The customer service representative is helpful, efficient. I can almost feel Sarah's frustration when she discovers her little siphoning scheme has hit a brick wall. Shared utilities are next. I call the power company, the internet provider, canceling services, or transferring them solely to Sarah's name where possible. Each call is a small act of severing, of reclaiming my independence. Social media. I deactivate everything. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I don't want to see their faces, their carefully curated online personas. I don't want any updates, any reminders. For now, Marcus Davies needs to disappear from the digital world, just as he's disappearing from Sarah's life. The hardest calls are to my close friends, the ones who knew Sarah and me as a couple, and to my family. I give them a selective, edited version of the truth. Sarah and I have split, I say, keeping my voice even, devoid of emotion. It's complicated. I just need some space right now. I'm safe, I'm okay, but I need to be unreachable for a bit. They're shocked, concerned, full of questions I'm not ready to answer. I promise to explain more when I can. Chloe, of course, knows more, and I trust her to manage the flow of information, to protect me from well-meaning but intrusive inquiries. As I make these calls, I can almost feel Sarah's panic escalating. She'll be calling Chloe, calling my parents, my friends, trying to locate me. Her narrative of the concerned fiancé will be unraveling with every dead end she hits. Jake, too. His guilt, already a heavy burden, will be amplified by my disappearance. He'll question Sarah's story, her motives. Their unholy alliance, built on lies and opportunism, will start to fray under the pressure. I'm not just running, I'm strategically retreating, creating a vacuum that will force their deceptions into the light. Late that night, Chloe calls me on the burner phone I asked her to get me. "She's losing it, Marcus," Chloe says, a note of grim satisfaction in her voice. "She called me a dozen times. Then she showed up at my apartment, demanding to know where you are. I told her I had no idea, that you just needed space. She even tried to guilt-trip Mom." "Good," I say. "Let her sweat." "She filed a missing person report, Marcus." A missing person report. The irony is almost comical. I'm not missing, I'm orchestrating. "Let her," I say. "It'll make what's coming next even more impactful." I hang up and turn on the small television in the hotel room, flicking through channels. And there it is on the local news. A picture of me smiling from a holiday a couple of years ago. Sarah is beside me, her arm linked through mine. The news anchor is talking about a local man, Marcus Davies, who disappeared shortly after being discharged from hospital following a serious motorcycle accident. His fiancée, Sarah Carter, is desperately appealing for information. There she is, on screen. Sarah, her face a mask of anguish, tears streaming down her cheeks. "Marcus, if you can hear this, please come home," she chokes out, her voice breaking convincingly. "I love you. We're all so worried." I watch, a cold smile playing on my lips. The performance is flawless, but I have the recording. I have the emails. I have the truth. And Sarah Carter, the grieving fiancée, is about to be exposed as the calculating predator she truly is. My disappearance isn't an escape. It's a declaration of war, and the first shots are about to be fired. The news report is the catalyst I needed. Sarah, in her desperation, has unwittingly handed me a public platform. Her tearful performance, broadcast across the city, is the perfect backdrop for the truth to explode. My plan, which has been solidifying in the sterile quiet of the hotel room, now shifts into high gear. The first step is to dismantle her support system, to strip away the illusion of the concerned fiancé. I start with our mutual friends. I draft a carefully worded email attaching a selection of the most damning evidence: the emails between Sarah and Jake, a few of the photos of their secret trysts, and, most importantly, a transcript of the conversation I recorded in the closet, the one where Sarah wished I hadn't woken up and discussed my insurance money. I don't add commentary or accusations. The evidence speaks for itself, painting a picture so vile it needs no embellishment. I hit send. The list of recipients a veritable who's who of our social circle. The sound of the rain against my hotel window seems to echo the storm I'm about to unleash. Next, her family. This requires a more delicate touch. I call Sarah's mother, a woman I've always liked, always respected. It's a difficult conversation. I tell her, gently but firmly, that Sarah and I are no longer together, that Sarah has been dishonest in ways I can't fully disclose over the phone, but that I'm safe, and I need her to trust me. I mention that Sarah has been involved with Jake, a fact I know will shock her. I don't send her the raw evidence, not yet. I want to give her a chance to hear it from Sarah if Sarah has an ounce of courage or remorse left, which I doubt. Then, the financial assault. With Liam's guidance, my lawyer cousin has been an invaluable, unseen ally in all this. I initiate legal proceedings to recover the money Sarah siphoned from our joint account. The bank, armed with my testimony and the evidence of her unauthorized transfers, is cooperative. Freezing the account was the first step. Reclaiming the stolen funds is the next. Liam also drafts a formal letter to Sarah, outlining my intention to pursue legal action for fraud and emotional distress, and informing her that I am dissolving our engagement and demanding the return of any property of mine still in her possession. That includes the apartment. The final piece of this stage is Jake. I sent him a single text message from my burner phone. I know everything. The recordings, the emails, Sarah's plans for my money. Meet me, alone. Or this all goes very public very soon. Your choice. I give him a time and a place. A quiet, anonymous coffee shop far from our usual haunts. The fallout from the emails to our friends is immediate and explosive. My phone. The burner starts buzzing with messages of shock, disbelief, and support. Sarah's carefully crafted image is crumbling. Friends who had offered her sympathy are now seeing her in a new, horrifying light. Her phone, I imagine, is probably melting down with calls from angry, betrayed friends demanding explanations. Jake agrees to meet. He sounds broken on the phone, his voice a mere shadow of its usual confident tone. When I see him at the coffee shop, he looks like a man who hasn't slept in days. His eyes are haunted. I don't waste time with pleasantries. I play him a short, carefully selected segment of the recording, Sarah's cold dismissal of his guilt, her pragmatic discussion of my insurance payout. I watch his face as he listens, the color draining from it, replaced by a look of utter devastation, then dawning horror. He finally sees her. Not the woman he thought he was having an affair with, but the calculating, manipulative creature she truly is. She said those things? He stammers, his voice barely a whisper. She did, I say, my voice flat, devoid of the rage that still simmers beneath the surface. And she meant them. She was playing you, Jake, just like she was playing me. You were a means to an end, an upgrade, perhaps, or just a pawn in her game to get my money. I offer him a choice, a chance at a sliver of redemption. You can disappear, try to salvage what's left of your life, or you can help me make sure she faces the consequences for what she's done, for what we allowed her to do, in our own ways. I show him the picture of the engagement ring from Sarah's laptop. She was even planning how to spend your money, Jake, before you'd even properly committed. His head drops into his hands. The fight goes out of him. He's not a monster, not like her. He's weak, flawed, easily led, but not inherently evil. He chooses to help. He agrees to provide a written statement, corroborating my story, detailing the affair, Sarah's manipulations, her financial discussions. He's a broken man, but in breaking him, I've turned him against her. My quiet power move. Sarah's world is collapsing, and one of its key pillars just switched sides. The legal pressure mounts on Sarah. Liam serves her with the papers. Her bank accounts are frozen. Her friends are abandoning her. The missing person report, once her shield of feigned concern, now looks like a desperate, manipulative tactic. And then, just as I'm starting to feel a sliver of control, a sense of grim satisfaction, the unexpected happens. There's a knock on my hotel room door. I'm not expecting anyone. Chloe has a key. I look through the peephole. It's Sarah. Her face is pale, tear-streaked, but her eyes are blazing with a desperate fury. How did she find me? It doesn't matter. The final confrontation, it seems, is upon me sooner than I anticipated. She knows she's cornered, and a cornered animal is the most dangerous. The reckoning is here. She hammers on the door again, her voice raw. "Marcus, I know you're in there. Open this door. We need to talk." I take a deep breath. The storm has finally broken. I open the door. Just a crack at first, then wider, letting her see me. Not the broken, confused man from the hospital, but someone else. Someone harder. Someone she doesn't recognize. She pushes past me into the room, her eyes scanning the impersonal space, finally landing on me with an intensity that's almost palpable. "Marcus, thank God. I've been so worried. What are you doing here? Why did you just disappear like that?" Her voice is a torrent of feigned relief and accusation. The performance is still on, but the cracks are showing. I don't say anything. I just watch her, my expression unreadable. Silence can be a weapon, too. "Everyone's been frantic," she continues, her voice rising. "Filing a missing person report. I thought something terrible had happened to you again." "Something terrible did happen, Sarah," I finally say, my voice quiet, dangerously calm. "It happened in the ICU. It happened in our apartment. It's been happening for months." Her face pales. The feigned concern flickers, replaced by a dawning awareness. What are you talking about?" "I'm talking about you and Jake," I say, each word deliberate, precise. "I'm talking about the kiss I saw in the waiting room. I'm talking about the conversations I heard when you thought I was unconscious, your plans, your hopes that I wouldn't recover." Her composure shatters. You heard?" she stammers, her eyes wide with a mixture of fear and disbelief. "Everything." I hold up my phone. "And I recorded it. Every last word. Your wish that I'd died. Your plans for my insurance money. Your strategy to move in with Jake once I was settled." The color drains completely from her face. She looks like she's about to collapse. "Marcus, no, it's not what you think. I was scared, confused. I didn't mean any of it." "Didn't you?" I counter, my voice like ice. "The emails, Sarah, the photos, the secret trips, the engagement ring you were picking out with him, was that all just confusion too?" I walk over to the small desk where my laptop sits, the USB drive beside it. I have it all. Every lie, every betrayal. She tries to rush towards the laptop, but I block her path. "It's backed up, Sarah, in multiple places. With my lawyer, with friends. It's over." Tears begin to stream down her face now. Real tears this time. Tears of desperation, of a trapped animal. "Marcus, please," she begs, her voice raw. "We can fix this. I made a mistake, a terrible mistake, but I love you. I've always loved you." The lie is so audacious, so insulting, that I almost laugh. "Love?" I repeat. "You call what you did love? You stood by my hospital bed with your lover, discussing my will, annoyed that my recovery was inconvenient, You siphoned money from our savings while I was fighting for my life. That's not love, Sarah. That's predation." She lunges for me then, trying to grab the phone, trying to salvage something from the wreckage of her life. I easily sidestep her. Her desperation is pathetic. "It's too late, Sarah," I say, my voice devoid of any emotion except a vast, weary finality. You've lost. You've lost everything." The fight drains out of her. She sinks to the floor, sobbing, a crumpled heap of deceit and broken dreams. It's not a satisfying sight. There's no triumph in witnessing someone's complete and utter self-destruction, even someone who has wronged you so profoundly. There's just an ending. Jake, true to his word, has already started his public confession. He's spoken to mutual friends, to his family, admitting his role in the affair, his shame, his regret. He doesn't spare himself, but he also, subtly, directs the focus towards Sarah's more egregious actions, her financial machinations, her cold-hearted wishes for my demise. He's trying to salvage a shred of his own integrity, and in doing so, he's hammering the final nails into Sarah's coffin. I look down at the woman on the floor, the woman I once loved, the woman who so callously betrayed me. There's nothing left to say. The evidence will speak for itself. The legal process will take its course. Her friends have abandoned her. Her family, I suspect, will soon follow once they learn the full, unvarnished truth. I walk to the door. "Goodbye, Sarah." She looks up, her face streaked with tears and mascara, a desperate plea in her eyes. But there's nothing there for her. No forgiveness, no second chances. Just the cold, hard consequences of her actions. I leave her there, in the sterile anonymity of the hotel room, and walk out into the fresh air. It feels different this time. Not just the crispness of freedom from the hospital, but a deeper, more profound liberation. The weight that has been crushing me for weeks, the anger, the betrayal, the pain, it's still there. But it's lighter now. Manageable. The coming months are a blur of legal proceedings and emotional recovery. Sarah faces charges for fraud. Her attempts to manipulate the narrative, to paint herself as a victim, fail spectacularly against the mountain of evidence I've compiled, corroborated by Jake's testimony. She loses the apartment. She loses her reputation. She loses everything she schemed so hard to gain. Jake, to his credit, accepts his punishment. He makes public apologies. He seeks therapy. He tries, in his own flawed way, to make amends, not to me, but to the world for his part in the deceit. We will never be friends again, but I can almost find it in myself to pity him. As for me, I start to rebuild. I move to a new apartment in a different part of the city. I focus on my physical therapy, on regaining my strength. I reconnect with friends and family, the ones who stood by me, who believed in me. The healing is slow, painful at times. Trust doesn't come easily anymore. But with each passing day, I feel a little stronger, a little more whole. One evening, months later, I'm sitting by the ocean, the breeze cool and clean on my face. It's a world away from the sterile confines of the ICU, from the tainted atmosphere of my old apartment. I take out my phone, scroll through my contacts. Her name is still there. Sarah. And his. Jake. Relics of a past life. With a sense of finality, of true closure, I press delete. Then delete again. Their emergency contact status in my life, in my heart, has long been revoked. A woman walks by, smiles, a genuine, uncomplicated smile. I smile back. It's a small thing, but it feels like a new beginning. The betrayal, the accident, they were a fire that razed my life to the ground. But now, from those ashes, something new is beginning to grow. I am reborn.